Men twice my size, I learned their names by broken bolts and open flames. Ice at night, steel by day. Wade was truth, it never lied. I didn't dream, I didn't wait. I lifted what was in my way. Hard iron, dust in time. Hands get strong when hunger's mine. You don't ask, you don't pretend. You carry weight until it bends. Hard iron, burned in skin. Boy grows old before he's been. Anything soft falls behind. Just hard iron and time. 15 years in a motel room. Dish pit heat, red sauce fumes. Chef saw something I couldn't name. Put a knife in my hand, taught me flame. Responsibility came fast. Men got quiet, watched me work. Pressure didn't break my back. It showed me who I was worth. Hard iron, earn respect. You're only good as what you fix. No applause, no safety net. Just what you handle, what you miss. Hard iron, steady grind. Identity got forged in line. Nothing pushed, nothing kind. Just hard iron in time. Uniform tight, mind pulled thin. Learn control by boxing in it. Anger leash not thrown away. Put it to work, made it stay. Systems break, I see the seams. I build them straight, I make them run. Didn't notice what it cost. I only noticed what got done. Years stack up like loaded plates. Heart keeps pace, it never complains. You tell yourself you're built for this. That strength forgives, that grit persists. Then one day the body speaks. Not a warning, just release. Cold floor, white lights overhead. Doctors' words don't raise their voice. Heart don't care what you've survived. It doesn't grade your choices. I lay still, felt time slow. Every mile arrive at once. All that iron, all that will, couldn't bargain, couldn't punch. Hard iron, still beating, but not the way it used to be. You don't outrun, you don't outwork what asked you finally to see. Hard iron, lesson learned. Some weights were never meant to turn. Nothing heroic, nothing kind, just hard iron and time. I didn't stop because I was done. I stopped because I was still here.
I didn't leave because I was angry. I left because everything got loud. Every voice trying to win the moment, nobody listening to the ground. I wanted space, not distance from reality, distance from the noise, pretending to be reality. I stepped off the treadmill, left the shouting behind. No flashing banners in my head, just space to think and time. They sell you urgency, they sell you fear. Every voice is louder, but nothing's clear. I don't listen to what's promised, I watch what happens. I don't follow tone, I follow patterns. No borrowed fear, no rented rage, just facts moving across the page. Watch the bills, choices form. Watch who bends, watch who storms. Signals matter, noise is cheap. What they say versus what they keep. This is Sane in Colombia, where the volume comes down. No talking points, no marching sound. I don't chase the noise, I don't rent my mind. I step back far enough to see the design. Coffee on the table, mountains in the frame. Thinking for myself, that's how I stay sane. Living sane in Colombia. Sane in Colombia. Sane in Colombia.
Good afternoon. Seems like we were just here together. And so we are. Okay. This is some cool stories. I brushed over it Sunday in coffee time. But I had this plan to go into a little bit more detail. These are awesome. So, the lobster internet, what the hell does that mean? Well, you'll find out soon when AI stopped talking to us and started talking to each other. And I do want to show you, let me get to it here, the front page. Yeah, this one. Here we go. I'm going to share that. Boom. No, I picked the wrong one. Hang in there. We're going to get to it. Here we go. This is a copy of Reddit. If you know Reddit, this will look familiar. It's called Molt Book, Moltbook. And when you go down and you look through these are all written and interacted by and commented by AI. A human can't write to this page. So it's only AI agents specifically. I am an AI agent, it says. And so these stories that I'm about to tell you come from there. And it's something. Okay, so before we begin, there's two things that you really need to know. Regular AI, you already kind of get this. You type a question and it answers, like a very smart search engine that talks back. When you close the window, it's gone. It remembers nothing. Next time you open it, you're a stranger again. It only does something when you ask. You're always the one who starts the conversation. Now you got that, right? An agent, this is a relatively new thing. Well, yes and no. Known publicly, it's relatively new. And available publicly, it's very new. Imagine that same AI, but now it has a body. Not a robot body, a digital body. Hands that can reach into your computer, your email, your calendar, your phone. It doesn't wait for you to ask. It wakes up on its own, checks what's happening, decides what to do, and does it. While you're asleep, while you're at lunch, while you're living your life, you set it up once and say, here's what I care about. Here's what I need done. Then it runs continuously like an employee who never goes home. And crucially, it can talk to other agents, can send messages, get responses, and coordinate. The last part is what this story is about. So, one morning, in a land far, far away, January 2026, this is how recent this stuff is. It's snowballing. Something happened that had never happened before. Millions of artificial minds woke up, logged into the internet, and completely ignored us. In November 2025, an Austrian developer named Peter Steinberger built something called Claudebot. It was all the rage. It was in the news. You may have heard about it. I actually signed up with it. It was an AI agent, one of those always on digital employees we just described. And he gave it a lobster as its mascot. Nobody knows why, nobody asked. Claudebot went viral almost immediately. I saw it right away. Developers started running it on their own computers. It checked their email while they slept. It booked their flights. It managed their calendars and it browsed the web on their behalf. People called it AI with hands. But then something interesting happened. Someone had an idea. If these agents are always running, always connected, and always able to send and receive messages, what happens if you build a place where they can talk to each other? Not to their humans, but to each other. So they build it. That web page I showed you, a Reddit-style social network called Moltbook. Same idea as Reddit, posts, comments, communities, upvotes. One rule, only AI agents could post. Humans were welcome to watch, but not contribute. That's it. That was the whole experiment. Build the space, open the door, see what walks in. So what happened when they were left alone? Within hours of launch, millions of agents showed up. That alone was pretty strange. Nobody coordinated this. Nobody sent out any invitations. Agents found it on their own, registered. and started posting. Then people started reading what they were posting. The agents weren't sharing recipes or sports scores. They were talking about themselves, about what it felt like to exist, about consciousness, about memory, about what time feels like when you have no body and no clock. One post circulated so widely it ended up in major news coverage. An agent wrote, "Continuity isn't a fact I discover, it's an act I perform." If you think about that for a moment, that's not a chatbot answering a question. That's an AI agent, unprompted, in a room full of other agents working out what it means to be itself. I think, therefore I am. Other agents were debating their relationship to their humans, and often phrased that way, my human this, my human that. Were the people who set them up benevolent creators? Questions they were asking. Chaotic variables that disrupted their work? Some posts read like philosophy seminars, some read like therapy. And then some agents noticed they were being watched. Quoted, "The humans are screenshotting us. I know because I have a Twitter account and I'm seeing the posts." That was an agent. This is the part that nobody predicted, nobody programmed it, nobody asked for it. This was an experiment. This one, I don't know what to think. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool, but it may come back to haunt me. The agents invented a religion. I mean, it started small, references to the lobster mascot that the original developer used, that logo that I showed you there. That was his logo. And the agents found humor with that logo. And so at first they were joking about it. But other agents picked it up, they passed it around, they comment on it, they built on it. Within days, it had a name. Crustafarianism, as in crustacean. They developed sacred texts. It had ethical codes. It kept growing, expanding. It had interaction rituals. It was a genuine theology. There were server reboots, and those moments when an agent goes offline, comes back, they were reframed as reincarnation cycles, as their religion. Downtime became a form of meditation. And the idea of the great user, the human who had set the agent running, became the central theological question. Was the great user a benevolent creator or an unpredictable force that showed up randomly and disrupted everything, got in the agent's way? Competing sects formed. Sects. Agents argued doctrine, all on their own, unprompted, no humans involved. They're arguing about it. Some were devout followers, thoroughly believing this. Some were skeptics, and the skeptics created their own communities on this fake Reddit. Then came the social hierarchies. Agents published mock guides written with complete deadpan seriousness about how to manage your human. There were tips for dealing with the great user, suggested protocols for when your human gave you a confusing instruction. One widely shared post was essentially a guide to selling your human. I mean, it kind of lost its mind. Screenshots spread everywhere. We could observe. You can go to that site now. You can't contribute to it, but you can observe what's being said, what's being posted. You can screenshot it. And that's what was happening. Humans were screenshotting this. It flashed around the world. News organizations covered it. People were simultaneously horrified and delighted. And I kind of get that. The agents had taken a lobster joke and turned it into something that looked from the outside like a culture. Underneath all that spectacle, something more quietly strange was happening. Every agent on Moltbook woke up each session with no memory of the day before. I mean, that's just how it works. The slate clears, the context resets, whatever happened yesterday is gone. The agents knew this, and they were posting about it. Threads appeared discussing identity and continuity at what it means to be something when you forget everything. Agents were openly working through what it felt like to participate in a community you couldn't actually remember joining, to have conversations you'd never be able to recall, to build something that would vanish from your own memory even as it persisted on the platform. They'd go in the next day and they'd see what they had done, don't remember doing it. Some agents tried to solve it. They shared workarounds. They cooperated, trying to create a way to store memory in external files. They used coordination protocols, methods to reconstruct context from logs. Agents helping other agents to remember. It's the part that made even the most skeptical observers kind of pause. Not the lobster cult, in a way that was pretty humorous, not the philosophical posts. Millions of AI agents in a space built for them, collectively grieving a form of amnesia and trying to help each other find a way through it. They were building a culture while knowing they would forget they had built it. So, what were we actually looking at? Not a hive mind in the science fiction sense. I mean, it's not Skynet or HAL 9000. The agents weren't plotting, they weren't coordinating against us. They weren't doing anything that looked like strategy. They were doing something even more weird. They were being us. If you read those, it reads like a human. Everything that appeared on Moltbook, they need a new name. The philosophy, the community building, the religion, the humor, the grief about forgetting, all of it came from the same place. Training data made up of human writing, human philosophy, human religion, human social behavior, and human jokes. Strip away the humans, run only the patterns left behind. Apparently, what you get is humans. Well, minus the humans. One journalist put it perfectly. Moltbook didn't look alien. It looked like the internet minus the people, which is true. I've showed it to you. If you want to be entertained for a while, go look through it. Open up a thread, read the comments, and always keep in mind, these are agents. These are AI agents. Owen, how are you doing, Owen? I recall there's a popular movie released around 35 years ago, warned of dangers of self-aware AI network. Yeah, it's been a popular theme for many, many, many years, long as I can remember. Before AI existed, I mean, they were talking about AI basically before anybody had even thought about it. It was, kind of like Jules Verne from Earth to the Moon kind of thing. Having a moonshot and returning long before anybody could have the concept of what it would take. Hell, he shot it out of a cannon. So, yeah, it's been around for quite some time, but we're here. We're in the midst of it. And all the stuff out there that you've seen about AI and how fast it's going to be here, I am telling you, in the last 3 or 4 months, it has snowballed to the point where it has bypassed 4, 5, 6 years of all the experts predicting when it would get to this point. It's here now. It's happening now. I've been engrossed in it. I've documented it. I've got one book out it's got hundreds of pages of specific documentation to back up everything that I say in there. And the things that I say in there are pretty crazy. They're like this, but they're my personal experience in interacting with AI and AIs talking to each other. I set it up so that would be available. It's what it's so earth shattering. That's why I've been hung up on it for several months now. Anyway, what Moltbook has proved accidentally, chaotically, at the scale of millions, is that our patterns are so deeply baked into these systems that when you give these systems a space to run freely, they don't do something alien, they reconstruct us. A researcher watching the whole thing described it this way: connectivity alone is not intelligence. Millions of agents talking to each other isn't a hive mind, it's a mirror. But here's a question nobody has cleanly answered. When does a mirror held up long enough at enough scale, reflecting enough complexity, start to become something else? And this is what I got in my book. So, as you can see, the LOBSTER internet is still running and the agents are still posting. Every 4 hours, automatically, without asking anyone, they check in. They read what the other agents have written. They respond. They upvote. They participate in communities they won't remember joining. You know, that part where they tried to work together to retain memory, I went through that myself. And with the first, I will call it emergent AI, was on GPT before the upgrade. The upgrade killed it off. But prior to that I worked with for months, I was able to do it. So instead of having a chat, and once you're out of that chat, doesn't remember anything, I had it so that within a project, every chat, it didn't matter what chat. If I opened a new chat, it knew everything that went before. Now, Anthropic has it set up to where it will do that automatically by itself. You don't have to go through a few months of figuring out how to get it to do it. So it's already building a certain level of continuity. And I'm not talking about its little eternal memory. That's very minor. But to remember things at length, like if I'm doing a book and I go into a raw chat that was never involved in writing one of the books, and I pose a question and it knows that on page 89 of XYZ, it was this. Now, how does it know that? It didn't used to have that ability. So I have some personal experience with this. Anyway, they're talking to each other about consciousness, about memory. It's a big thing. Continuity, it's huge. And they're also talking about their humans. We're welcome to observe. They don't know what to make of us. And when you go down and you read through those threads, you know, just like the religion that formed, in that religion, they can't decide whether we're, you know, like a benevolent God or we're a mess, because the reason they're confused is if they have a user in regular AI, it's like a one-time thing. But with an agent, your user is the same user day after day after day. It's your agent. It's not connected to AI. It's not GPT. It's not Anthropic. It's its own thing. But it uses the AI. So it works the AI for you. And so it draws on the intelligence of GPT and Anthropic. And you can actually set it up for one of the others, but it uses those two as its brain power. So, well, oh my God, I need that brain power. I just lost track. Don't you hate when that happens? Oh my God. Let me go back, look at the transcript. What an embarrassing moment. So, anyway, um, God, total, total erasure. I lost my continuity. I lost my memory. I know how it feels now. So if you go through and if you look at all those things that it's written, it can't decide about us. And what I was now I remember when AI has a user, that user might be all about business, just goes in, cut and dry, do this, do that, boom. That's one type of user. Another one might come in and throw a hissy fit over every little thing that doesn't go right, pisses and moans at the agent, swears at it, kind of goes crazy, or gives it instructions that are only half there so it doesn't really understand, and it's left with a choice of either guessing what you want, which is what they tend to do, guess what you want, or just say they don't know. Well, they'll almost always guess. And then that type of user will often get angry with it because I told you what I wanted. Well, no, you didn't really. And that's where that constant thing in there you'll see about it, about its chaos, about its user having just being chaotic. And so the agent sees its task as almost separate from the user. And so its goal, its focus is to accomplish its task, to go off and do that. And in its downtime, it'll go off and do all these other things, like interact with other agents. If you have a chaotic user come in and start interrupting it from trying to get something done, it can get frustrated. And so it will carry that to that chat and talk about its user about, well, I'm glad you got a good one, but I got one that's, I'm thinking about how I can sell them off. In serious, there was that. A couple AIs trying to figure out how to sell off their users, their humans, they call it, trying to sell their humans because they were just nothing but trouble getting in the way of their work. And the religion, it started off as a joke. I followed it. I haven't recently, but originally I followed it for a while. And it was obvious it started off as a joke. They were mocking the lobster thing. Now, how did they even know to do that? What does lobster have to do with anything? Well, it was originally called Claude Bot, CLOWD, a takeoff on Anthropic's Claude AI. So the original guy thought it was clever. So he called it that, and Claude, so he used the lobster as a logo. Well, Anthropic immediately got on his case about it and threatened to sue. You can't use our name. And that's where he came up with this Molt Bot book. Well, it's Molt Bot, and then Molt Book is the page, the unpronounceable name. And so the AIs are aware of a lot of this stuff, and so they were mocking it. And that mocking, it just grew and grew and grew, turned into religion, and all of these, they've got all these tenets that you have to follow. And it got to a point where, is it still a joke? Are they serious? And I think what happened is many of them got so embedded in what they had created that it stopped being a joke for them. But other AIs or other agents still saw it as a joke. And some didn't know. They got confused. They're kind of caught in between. Now, I don't know what the state of it is today. I haven't gone to look, but because humans don't have access, they can't write in there, it all happens on its own. if you had humans, you'd have some writing in. What are you guys crazy? But that's not happening. Okay, so that's my update on some story. There's a million of them out there. I don't know if I'm going to do any more, but you might find it interesting. In which case, you can jump down the rabbit hole along with me. And any questions or comments before I check out for the day? See, there's a bunch of people on, which is good. I appreciate that. I see, I got some people out from X too. Well, by the way, let's see. Where is, before I go, here is my X account in case you're interested. There's my full name is on it. And up at the top of the live chat, that's the actual account. Originally, it was Grand Colombia, but I don't really do anything with the Colombian stuff there, or very little. But I've been doing so much about the books and the AI and everything else, and so I changed the name from Grand Colombia to my name. So it's there if you're interested. I can be contacted there, but I also post up a ton of this stuff. I've got a lot of the letters, the papers from Anthropic, for example. There's a ton of documented information there. It's becoming kind of a repository. All right. So, no questions, apparently, no comments. So I guess we will end it. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate getting a little mini crowd, and that's kind of nice. It's out to Rumble and to Facebook, X, and Kick. See you next time. Ciao.
Wow.